Nothing better than a little accordion music in the morning. Rainer, thank you so much. Loving having Rainer here. Breakfast with Bob, the 12th annual Challenge Roth. With me right now, up-and-comer Dylan McNeice. Dylan, you've been on a little bit of a roll, winning your last couple of races. So before we talk about that, talk a little bit about getting into the sport. You were more of a swimmer growing up?
Yeah, I was a swimmer up until about 2004, and I watched the Olympics, Athens Olympics, and Hamish Carter and Bevan Doherty from New Zealand went 1-2, and that sort of inspired me to, I guess, find a new career. I'd been a little bit bored swimming, and I watched those Olympic Games and thought, this sport looks awesome, so why not?
And you can't really make a living as a swimmer.
Not unless you're Michael Phelps or someone like that, of course,
right.
and I knew I was never going to be a Michael Phelps, so triathlon was it.
And what was your first race?
Some tiny little race in the middle of New Zealand somewhere, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I actually did what they call a Kiwi Kids Triathlon. I think they, basically have them all around the world. It's you buy a cereal and you get your entry for this Kiwi Kids Triathlon, and I did that when I was about 9, and then I think the next one I did was when I was 19.
And how'd you do first time out?
I can't remember. Maybe I got third in a field of no one, so probably not that great, but it was all right.
Finishing top 5 and something like that makes you feel like, okay, there is some potential here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And what was the next step for you? Did you focus on the Olympic distance, Olympic format, thinking of trying to go for the games in 08 or 2012?
Yeah, of course. The Olympics was always a dream of mine. So stuck to the Olympic distance and had a crack at that. I guess I figured out pretty early on that I wasn't going to be the fastest runner, and I'd have to try and use my swimming strength and get my biking up there. And, I guess it never really paid off. The sport's evolved too much now. You can't really be a swim biker in the Olympic style racing. You still need to be a really, really fast runner, and that just wasn't me. So here I am in the iron distance format.
So did you move up then? You moved up to some 70.3s. You were 2010 second overall in the New Zealand Elite Series, and Wildflower won the Olympic a couple years ago. So they went from Olympic format to Olympic non-drafting, then stepped up to 70.3? Yeah,
basically 2011 I started having a go at the non-drafting series in America and the 70.3 series in America. Last year, 2012, was sort of my full season in the US, and it didn't really fit me. It was too much racing. I like a big build-up, and so I made the decision in about November last year to have a crack at my first full distance race in Wanaka this year.
So you're one of those guys. It's funny. We were talking to Yvonne van Vlerken yesterday, and her whole thing is she realized that she needs to race a lot, that she needs to be constantly racing, and then other athletes build up, and they want to have that nice big build to one major event. That's more you. Yeah,
definitely. I like just knowing that everything for me will come down to one day. I don't want to have in the back of my mind, oh, you've got another race in 2 weeks, or you've got another race in 3 weeks. I want to know that I have to perform on one day, and I like it that way.
You like that pressure.
Yep.
And we were talking a little earlier that as you've been successful, like you said, you won Challenge Taiwan, you won Challenge Wanaka. That's your first iron distance. That was your iron distance debut.
Yep.
And now, obviously, more demands. People like me want to talk to you, but you want that, right?
Of course, that means you're being successful in what you do. So it's a good thing, and like I said, I like the pressure. So people keep reminding me, you've won 2 from 2. So got to keep the roll going. I mean, this is Challenge Roth. This isn't Wanaka or Taiwan. It's a whole new ball game. So I'm going to have to. A great race for me could be 5th. I don't know. I'm just going to have to get out there and race the way I can and know I can.
Did you feel when you did your first iron distance race, this is me? This is what I really enjoy.
Yep, I really enjoyed Wanaka. The last 2 hours or last hour and a half of the marathon were, it's torture.
Nobody enjoys that.
No. But up until that point, I had a lot of fun. It was interesting, and I guess I enjoyed it more because I was out front and I was winning, and I never really thought that was going to happen. So Yeah, I really enjoy this format.
When last year when you were racing in the States and not having the success you wanted, were there points where you're like, well, maybe this just isn't right for me? This career is not where I want it to go.
Yeah, of course. Last year I was still studying at university.
Yeah.
And I think, at the time I just shoved it off and said, it's not that big a deal. It's not really having an effect on me. I think maybe it did a little bit. But at the same time, when I finished my degree last year, I thought, all right, I'll race Wanaka and then I'll retire.
Really?
Yeah. So I thought, it'll be a good way to send off my career. My first and last iron distance race. I'd always been in Wanaka training when the race was on, so I really wanted to do that race.
Yeah.
And then I guess it went better than I thought, and here I am.
Yes. So you go into that race basically going, hey, this is going to be my first and last long iron distance event. I've given it my best. I got what'd you get your degree in?
Marketing.
Okay, so you can go and become a marketer and move on and say you gave it my best, gave it a shot.
Yep.
And then when you're leading the race, are you thinking, maybe I'll do more of these?
Yeah. The thing is, I never really thought I was going to win until I really crossed the line as the winner. So for me, it was a case of, I said to myself, if I win, sure, I'll reconsider retiring.
Right.
And if I don't, then there's no way I'll retire. But so when I won, it was, it wasn't really a hard decision to make to keep going, but I just never thought it was going to happen.
So when you look at your strengths now, is running still the thing you have to work on the most?
Running's my weakness, I would say, but I'm much better at that longer, slower stuff. I seem to be able to run a solid marathon. I'm definitely not the fastest runner out there, but I've got a good swim on me, so that adds up for a little bit of that running weakness. And then the riding at the moment like I'm holding my own on the bike, which is important, of course.
So with Bevan and Hamish, and then before that Cam Brown, and still Cam Brown, New Zealand has a great history and legacy. Aaron Baker got a great legacy history in Ironman distance and obviously in triathlon. Growing up, who were the people you were reading about? Or were you? Because you were more of a swimmer at that point.
Yeah. To be honest, I really didn't even know what triathlon was until that Athens Olympics 2004.
Yeah.
So they had the world champs in Queenstown in 2003, and I honestly had no idea what triathlon was. I didn't even know it was on. So a year later, it was sort of full circle and watched the Olympics, and there was Hamish and Bevan, and it was then I started to learn more about the history. I used to be, when I first started, I was coached by Scott Molina, so I had an idea of who these people were and sort of that they were really good athletes, but I had no idea about actually how good they were and stuff like that. So Aaron Baker was a legend, and Hamish and Bevan, of course, and Cam Brown's I just refer to Cam as like a robot. When you see him on his game, he's a robot. Nothing changes. He just gets through it, and he's an amazing athlete. So it's going to be really cool to line up against him.
I was going to say, have you raced him before?
Yes, but not over this distance, obviously. So it's a bit daunting, but it'll be okay.
Yeah. So you've got Cam Brown here. You've got your defending champion. You've got Timo Brock. You've got the men's field is pretty stacked.
It's, when I look at it, it scares me. It's I think there's a few guys that people were going to sort of not really keeping an eye on, but should be. The likes of Mikey Petzold, the German.
Now isn't he moving up for more of the Olympic format?
Yeah, he is. But if I can do it, I know he can do it.
Right.
So he's a really class athlete. Nils Fromhold, I heard he's had a few issues, but super good athlete. He won Ironman Arizona on debut last year.
Yeah.
He's one that's sort of been flying under the radar, and Timo, James Kanama, of course Cameron Brown, and there's a few others there.
There's always guys. If people are lining up in the starting line here, you figure they're ready to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this is, like you said, you've done some different challenge races, but this is the granddaddy. This is the big one that's been around forever, and so many legends have raced here and done well here.
Yes.
To potentially win this and keep your streak going, what would that mean to you, do you think?
It might mean I could buy a house, which would be...
There we go. Yeah, house is nice.
That would be nice. I don't really want to think about that.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm going to concentrate more on a time, if anything. There's that magical 8 barrier that's a potential in Roth on a really good day.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if I race myself rather than everyone else, it's probably going to suit me better. And if I race for that time rather than that position, I think that's the way I'm going to approach this. So winning is, geez, I can't even think about it really.
What was the toughest adaptation for you going from an Olympic guy in Olympic distance racing to iron distance racing? Or has it? For you, it seems like it's been pretty smooth. For a lot of people, they have problems because when they race Olympic distance or Olympic format, there's really not much nutrition involved, right? You just go.
Yeah.
And we talk about these races. These are eating and drinking contests to a certain degree.
Yeah, they are. Exactly, they are. I've just kind of slid right into my groove here, and I guess that's why I enjoy it so much, because it just seems to suit me. It's just, I always had the feeling that the longer stuff would be the better for me. I'm not a really small build or anything.
Right.
Not a more of a strength guy rather than a speed guy. So there's been nothing real. I've just hit the jackpot, been very lucky that I've got my nutrition right straight away, and the training suits me and the racing suits me.
So you, like you said, you watch 2004 Olympics. You see Bevan. You see Hamish. Have you lined up against those guys? And what was it like the first time you lined up against guys who basically got you into the sport?
Yeah, I've raced them quite a few times.
Beat them yet?
Probably only if they didn't finish. Yeah, I think the first time was in 2006 at our national championships, and it was quite daunting. But I think I swam out the front and I rode with them, and then they killed me on the run. But it was a good feeling to get in there and mix it up with them a little bit.
So I'm guess you're not thinking about retiring anytime soon.
No, I'm going to take it one race at a time, as I hope I always can. But at the moment, I've definitely got plans for the next few years.
And during the time when you felt like, hey, I think I'm going to hang it up, were your sponsors still behind you? Because a lot of times sponsors believe in people before they believe in themselves.
Yeah, my sponsors have been amazing. I had 2 Times You for a long time, and they always supported me.
Yeah.
Brooks Running, I never really offered them anything in terms of being a good fast runner. But they supported me for six years, and this is my 7th year with them. I guess the good thing about Wanaka was that it was in January, so it was at the start of a new contract sort of cycle. So it would have been, I did Wanaka and I said, thank you very much, but this is me. You don't need to worry about another year. So.
Oh, did you tell them that?
No, I hadn't told them yet.
Yeah. You were thinking about telling them, and then you win.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to say, hey, I'm giving it up, and then they say, all right, see you later, and then and then oh, hang on, I'm still going. So yeah,
love that. Hey, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Bob.
Hey, we're gonna bring in our man Rainer right now. Rainer, can you take us out with something really cool? The Saints go marching in on the accordion. How often do you get to hear that? We're at Challenge Roth. Our guest has been Dylan McNeice, who will be one of the factors on Sunday at the 12th Annual Challenge Roth. Hold on, everyone. We will be right back.